Today, I'm super excited to introduce Cassy. Cassy is an amazing DJ, producer, singer, record label owner, mother, born in the UK and raised in Austria. Your parents are from Austria and Barbados. Is it right?
Yes. Yes.
I always admire you and obviously played your music. So welcome you. Thank you for having this interview. Tell us about your early musical influences. What kind of sounds were you drawn to when you were younger?
First, it was classical music. That was the first music I listened to. And then I listened to everything that my father listened to in the car. My father didn't listen to classical music, but he listened to jazz and to soul and to pop music mainly. And but I think blues was actually more his favorite, but also that kind of like very popular blues music, like Eric Clapton.
Read that that your family was friend of Sun Ra.
Well, they weren't like friends of Sun Ra. They were friends with people that organized like probably one of the most interesting jazz festivals the world has ever seen. And so these people that my parents were friends with had this like old castle or old it's an old castle, like massive villa from the, I think, 19th century, like 18 something, built in 18 something, or maybe even a bit older. And they organized a jazz festival in this like countryside place. It looks amazing.
Did you have contact with him? I mean, did he influence you since that moment?
Well, no, I mean, I listened to that music because it was, it was at this festival, and because we had the records at home, because sometimes these people would stay with us. So this is why I know these names first. And then we had the records and the CDs, and I saw what these people looked like, and I saw how these people were acting. Some people, it's interesting, some people say they have to listen to a piece of music a certain amount of times to get it, and I never had that. I always listened to something, either I liked it or not, but I got it always. So this was something that I found interesting, that you could play me, even as a child, you could play me the freakiest jazz music, which obviously some of these bands that performed or at this festival, or sometimes also at our house. Actually, we also hosted some concerts. Sounded really, out there, avant-garde jazz. And maybe that influenced me in the sense that I'm extremely open to listen to all sorts of music.
Did you always wanted to become a musician? Since what age did you know that?
No, I never wanted to become a musician because I didn't like practicing. So my guitar teacher, because I did my A-levels in music and guitar, and I could have had like an A, but I only had a B, and like my teachers were really pissed because I just chose in school the easy way out, because I hated studying and practicing. So I just did everything. So I had the least amount of work. So this is how I chose. So I knew I would pass my A-levels with the least amount of work if I would do this and that. But then I thought I might study singing later on. But then I didn't want to, because if you study singing and opera singing, obviously you cannot go out, you cannot smoke cigarettes, you cannot be in the nightlife. But after my drama school, I really wanted to go to parties and just do nothing for a while and just have some random job and whatever. And so becoming an opera singer was also not possible.
When did you become a DJ, and what was your journey like?
I became a DJ. I started with 26, but I think I became more of a DJ in my early 30s. It's when it started, where I was like, okay, I have gigs and it's starting to become my profession, and I identify as a DJ now. And I never really wanted to become a DJ. It just happened. So it just was something that happened organically, which I guess is why I ended up doing it, because everything you set yourself up for doing, you end up not doing it. And if something happens, I mean, in my life, if something happens organically and you just get thrown into it and then you discover your passion while you're doing it, I think that's for me, that's always the better way of doing something.
What's your proudest moment so far?
I think becoming a mother.
Hmm.
Yeah, like having given birth to my son in the house in a pool.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that is my proudest moment. The natural birth, for sure, by far.
What do you love the most about your job and your passion?
That I get to travel the world and meet people.
Do you do you have a favorite travel memory?
My favorite and also like my most terrible travel memories at the same time. I would say everything now. I mean, my favorite was like going around the world by myself for 3 months, not going back home or not going back to Ibiza or Austria or wherever I was living at that time. So that was nice to really just to have nowhere for 3 months. My favorite memories are also when my son was a baby and I had to go around myself from place to place and do long flights with a baby son while you're still breastfeeding and also having to DJ in clubs is extremely hardcore. I've never done anything worse in my life. And but at the same time, those are my favorite memories because it just like made me even more resilient, I think. And it was just nice because I also got to see, I got to travel everywhere with my son. Like, you know what it's like being with a baby on the plane. And you saw my son on the plane, but that was, although he was already older, it was already a lot easier. But yeah, like I remember, like especially you see what countries and people are like when you travel with a child, and that and what their main what not population, but what the general vibe is of people and what they think is important, and that was extremely interesting. But then as soon as you're like in a South American country or Latin American country with a baby and you get on the plane, I mean, they're so nice to you.
Yeah.
And they're so sweet and they smile and they make you feel so at ease. It's like a totally different ball game. And that was like really, that was so cool to see. So I had this very interesting experience, even though it was super hard, especially when your baby cannot sleep and you're so exhausted and you have to work as well. But I just loved being like, I was still a DJ and still having to do that thing, but at the same time, I was also a mom and traveling in a completely different way. So I just thought these, I just remember so many trips.
What's your vision for the future? Do you have any more dreams you would like to fulfill?
Yes, there's like more dreams that I want to do more with classical music because I started a radio show for it. And it's so much fun and I've had such good feedback that I want to do more with that for sure. I really, really want to do more with it. In which way or whatever, just maybe try to find another format. Yes, and obviously do more traveling. I hope I will do lots more traveling and I cannot wait for when my son is a bit older and I can take him, like to places like Japan or I don't know, like more places far away that are like interesting to see. This is also something I really want to do.
Give us 3 records to die for.
I would say like, yeah, anything by Beethoven that could like lift your spirit, like the Ode to Joy also at the end, when you listen to it, it just makes your heart explode. A lot of like stuff that I like remixes that Mark Kinchin made in the very early 90s. And and the way he remixed them, and then also then his Nightcrawlers remix, that sound, that way of using the voice samples and the way he really influenced that sound of house.